house this weekend and I'm in the animal room trying to get it ready for the big move. So I wanted to apologize beforehand for the echoing and the lighting in here. I am inside a concrete dome with bare bulb lighting. So please bear with me and enjoy the ambiance, I guess. As you can see, I have added some caging. These are for rats and quail, and my mouse rack here. This room needs to be ready for rats, quail, mice, snakes, geckos, frogs, isopods. I think that's it. So today we got all of the supplies to install the gravity-fed watering systems in all of these cages. I'm going to show you how I do it on my mouse rack though. I thought you might be interested to see how I install that. All of these supplies came from Reptile Basics. It's where I get all of my gravity-fed watering system stuff from. I'm not sponsored or anything, it's just the easiest place to get them from, and I haven't had any problems with them. So let's see what we got in this box. This cardboard stuff right here, if you remove the pieces that have tape on them on the ends, make really great enrichment for mice and rats. They love using it as nesting material, so this is a great bonus. I'll also use the bubble wrap for shipping other stuff that I sell. Putting them both away. More bonus nesting material. So I got a bunch of tubing for the water lines. I got, and here are some T-connectors, and these are clips for the nipples to clip them into the little screen here so that they don't come out. And then in here we have the nipples, the quick connectors. I got a bunch of quick connectors so that I could clean out the lines without having to worry about spilling everything. Some inline water filters which come with the buckets. And I think that's it there. And then we got the buckets which come with bulkheads or quick connect bulkheads on them. And I'm wondering now if I needed to get the male connector. I don't actually remember if that comes with these or not. We'll figure it out as we go. So that is lids for the buckets. So that's what I got for the 3 cages here. For this particular rack that we're doing, we need 1 lid and 1 bucket. And then the other 2 are for the Critter Nation racks that are next to me. I'm never gonna get these out because I'm on video and apparently I have to embarrass myself every time. Probably should have done this before I turned the camera on. There we go. So there's the one for this. The first thing I need to do is decide where this bucket is going because all of the tubing is going to be measured from the bucket down. I have decided to put the bucket in the corner over here. I think it will be easier to fill than if I tried to put it in the center. And as such, I have added a small lift on this corner for the bucket to go on. And I've done that because the bucket has to be higher than where the nipple goes in order for the water to be pulled down by gravity. This is just a plastic bin that I found lying around. It doesn't have to be this high. It literally just needs to be higher than where the nipple is going to be. So the first thing you're supposed to connect this bucket to is this inline filter. And I'll show you what it looks like. Just a little filter with a little screen inside it. I don't use these. They're supposed to prevent sediment from getting into your lines and into your nipples. However, that just means that anything that is going to clog your lines or nipples anywhere in the system instead clogs the entire system wherever this inline filter is. And so I came home one day after being gone overnight and all my mice were sick. They were all bow-backed and they were all dehydrated, and it was because this thing had clogged the whole system. And there is no way to know if this is working or not except when the water stops running. You don't know when the water stops running in a system like this until your mice are sick, or if you check the nipples, which you can't do that 24/7. So I'm going to throw this in the trash. You do whatever you think you want to do. So I have installed the Quick Connect male connector that came with the kit, and this makes it so that the water stops if you disconnect this from this, the water doesn't pour out. So now we need to decide where the tubing and the nipples are going to go, and I'm going to come out from the bucket, split, and go down the sides. There are 5 bins here. There's one down here you can't see. And there's going to be a nipple in each of these little areas here. That way, the mice will have 2 water stations in each of these large bins, and there won't be any trouble with them getting water. So we're going to start by connecting tubing to the Quick Connect on the bulkhead. And you just do that by pushing the tube onto the little peg. And once it's all the way in, it's good. These are super easy. I've never had any problems with leakage from these, even though it seems like they should leak because they are so easy to connect. Now I want this to come down and then I want it to split, so I'm going to cut it here. Like so. I'm just using scissors because this is very thin tubing. It's not that big of a deal. You don't need tubing cutters for it, but you can use tubing cutters if you want to make it straighter. To split this, I am going to use one of these guys. This is a T connector. I'm going to use it in this orientation. This top part will go to the tube that's in the bucket, and the tubes for the nipples will come out the 2 sides. And again, you just wiggle it in, twist it in, whatever you gotta do to get it in there, you know? So this, I would normally tape this down right here so that I could work with it, but I have very famously forgotten my tape again. I can't just go grab it this time because it is up at the main house, which is 1,500 feet up a mountain. So we're just gonna have to deal without it for now. Yay. So we want to come this way and do another T so that we can have a nipple come down here and then more tubing come down the side. So you just connect it like any other time. And then it's just gonna be a short one because the nipple spot is right here. We're just gonna connect another T connector, this one in the lower orientation, just with the middle point pointing down for the nipple tube. So then we're going to put in some tubing here that will go from here to here where the nipple is going to go. Then we have to connect the nipple, and let me show you how this works. This is one of the nipples. Down here is a little peg. When the mice lick it, the water comes out. When they don't lick it, it blocks the water. This top part that looks kind of like a penis, this is the part that goes inside the tubing. It's called the male connector for reasons that are obvious. If you're using brackets, you need to put them on before you put it in the tubing because it sits on the little peg like that, like a little ring, I guess. And then you put this in the tubing and it just connects onto the 1/2-inch hardware cloth I have in here. So it just goes in and it connects to 2 separate squares of hardware cloth. Now we want tubing to come down here and continue doing this. so I have the T for the bottom bin right here. I am going to still connect it to one more tube, and I'm going to put one nipple down on the bottom that is not connected to a bin. And I do that so that if a mouse escapes, it has a place to get water that doesn't force it to destroy the tubing. I've actually had that happen on occasion. A mouse escaped. I couldn't catch it within a week because the thing was a serious pain in the ass. And it needed water, so it chewed through all the tubing 3 times in that week. I had to replace it. So I started putting a nipple at the bottom of the tubing, at the bottom of the rack, not attached to a bin or anything. And it's actually a really good way to terminate the tubing, because then if I need to clean out the tubing, I just pull the nipple on the bottom and it drains through all of the tubing. And that way I know that the system is clean. It's also a really easy spot to test if the water is working. Oh, okay, I found the elbows. The brackets are not this easy to attach. I don't have these attached fully because I'm going to be pulling stuff out and things before this is done. So I'm just attaching them very loosely. They're a little harder to attach and detach than that. They're kind of annoyingly hard, but there's really no other solution to it. And that's why when making a rack, I suggest you make the rails stop before your nipples, so that you can pull the bucket out, drop it, and pull it out the rest of the way without removing any of the watery nipples. That's the thing I actually meant to do with this rack, and while building it, I completely forgot that I was doing that, and then I built it, and now wood is so expensive that I don't feel like I can buy any more with a good conscience without using this up. And this is the last nipple on the bottom for the loose mice and to drain the system. Ta-da! Now, once I find my tape, I'm going to secure this to the back of this rail here. You can also use, they come with brackets you can get that you just screw into the railing, but I find that sometimes I want to change things around, and if I have the brackets, it's a lot harder to change things than if I don't have the brackets, so I just use tape. Since I found the L, I can use the L connector to make the corner instead of that mess over there. In fact, I'm going to replace that mess over there with an L too. Now I'm going to actually put in a quick connector for these last 2 sections so that I can disconnect this if I have fewer mice. So I'm going to go ahead and put this here. I'm going to show you the quick connector. Here's the quick connector, and it just connects to the backbone, and you can pull it apart, and when you pull it apart, this piece stays on and it blocks the water from coming out unless this is in it. So this way I can disconnect the last 2 bins if I'm not using them, because I plan on using 3 bins most of the time for my current snake population, and then using the second 2 bins during breeding season. Now remember, I put this quick connector on this side. I didn't do that on this side, and the reason I didn't do that on this side is because I never want to disconnect that bottom nipple. So in case you were wondering why the sides are not balanced. I will put quick connectors between the 2 cages on both of these Critter Nation setups. There's one also back here. I also have a 3-story Critter Nation that's coming from the other house. I also have another smaller mouse rack that I have not decided if I am bringing it with me, if I'm throwing it away. I think that wooden mouse racks have a shelf life, especially if you have escapees, because the wood sort of absorbs the urine smell and it eventually is sort of overpowering and you can't really clean out that smell anymore. So I think that wooden racks actually have a shelf life. I've had mine about 2 years now up at the other house, and I think I'm gonna throw it in the dump. Even though it actually makes a lot more sense for the things I want to do, it's set up better. This one is set up like this because all I could find at the time when I was building this was this size tub. I like to use clearish tubs because I think that having a daylight cycle is really important to the mice. So I don't like to use the mixing tubs or the gray ARS tubs that people use, or even the sort of opaque lab tubs that I've seen used before and that I have a whole bunch of too. But, so this is this. I'm actually going to finish this up. I'll probably take you along with me for a lot of it. Actually, I'm gonna show you right now what it looks like on the top. Come look. So you can see that the nipples are in the corners. I'm sorry. I'm attached to a wall outlet right now. And you can see each one. This is for food. This is a food trough. I have separated out where the nipples go from the food trough because I've been having trouble in my current iteration where I have to dig out the nipple from the food. And so I did this instead of what I would do going forward if I build this again. Let me show you. Now if I build this again, you can see this rack down here. Hang on, let me go up and show you in the top one. So you see this rack right here, this is the rail for, it sits under the lip on this tub and it holds it up. What I would do going forward is I would take this leg right here and I would move it back like here. And I would cut this rail at the end of where this is. And then it would still hold up the tub, but I would have this much space to put the nipple. And then if I pull the tub out, listen, I haven't used this thing very much yet, so it isn't really lubricated. If I pull the tub out, the back will get to here, and then it will drop down and I can pull it out without removing the nipple. That's my future plans for mouse racks, just in case you were wondering. Thanks so much for hanging out with me today, and I'll see you next time. Bye.